So MJ, today it's a little cold out. I don't know if you
It's
noticed.
chilly.
So we're inside, and we are going to go over to the Gilbert Street, to that new building over there to pick up Angela Catena. She is what is her title?
She's the brand new director of Title IX here at Virginia Tech. So excited to learn a little bit more about that role and hear from her. Everybody we talked to said she's just such a great lady. So I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Here we go. All right, MJ, we're leaving the public safety building. Some people, I will say, hey, meet me at the police department for a meeting or something like that, and they go to the Blacksburg Police Department.
Yep.
Sometimes people don't realize they were two different departments.
Yeah, I'd have to definitely specify that. Over by the football stadium, that's what I say.
And I even have to give them the address so they can put it in their GPS. But had a plethora of people in the past, and maybe they come, and vice versa. Maybe sometimes people come to our department and they need to go to Blacksburg.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, so we are going to head out to go to Gilbert Street to that new building that they built. Is it a year or so ago?
Yeah, man, time flies. I think it's been about a year now. Gilbert Place.
Facilities does an outstanding job getting the sidewalks and the streets and the parking lot plowed and cleared.
They sure do. They move quickly on it.
Now they did have the students were gone, so the faculty staff probably was not as big a year. So most of the lots were empty,
right?
Or less cars, I guess.
Yeah, note for the listening public here, when there's winter weather around, definitely check your email, check VT alerts for the snow routes, because sometimes people will accidentally leave their cars where they need to plow, and I'll get you towed, unfortunately. But as long as you're paying attention to those alerts and your email and all that, you'll know. They make it very, very clear where exactly on campus is the snow route you have to move your car from the street parking.
MJ, it's probably too late now, but a great MJ's legal corner segment would be snow removal off the windshield. Have you ever seen where they'll have a little patch where they've gotten the ice or snow off and the rest of the windshield's covered? Why is that a bad idea?
Two things. One, you can't really see what you actually need to see. But two, you get it going on the road and that snow flies off your vehicle, can hit other vehicles and startle people or obstruct their vision and then cause an accident that way.
And so it's probably a good idea too, when it's as best you can when it's snowing out, to maybe not follow the other cars so close, because snow and ice is probably going to come off cars.
Right. That is always a big thing for traffic safety. Is the law is one thing, but you still need to try and make yourself as safe as possible. You can't always trust everybody else to be, the world's greatest driver. So make yourself safe and not follow too close on it. And hey, I get it. When I know I'm rushing, trying to get to work on time, I'm tempted myself. But you just gotta take the extra minute or two to clear out that snow as best you can.
But do it the day before you got to go to work.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Just possibly jam. Now we are gonna. Angela is the new Title IX. Director of Title IX and Compliance.
Yep.
So we're going to speak with her, and she has, I'm not sure how many staff members she has. I know some of them were police officers, and some of them might have been social workers, lawyers, different jobs like that.
Yeah, no, it's a very important job. I'm looking forward to talking to her about all the different responsibilities she's had, but a big part of it is gender-based violence and preventing that on campus, which is obviously extremely important to the university, the police department, them. And I've always it's been a good thing to me about this job is, if someone is a victim of gender-based violence off campus, their options can be limited in that they can go down the criminal route and seek, charges and work with the police. And sometimes I can kind of feel like that's it. And I'm excited to talk to Angela so she can explain a little bit to people. But sometimes it gives people who are victims of gender-based violence another avenue to pursue, to seek an investigation and sanctions through Title IX if they don't want to go to court and all that, which is always something I've appreciated, been able to talk to people about, give them options.
as a detective, I would imagine that you deal more than an average patrol officer. You deal more with the Women's Center and probably Title IX.
Yeah, it's because the department takes any kind of, like I'm saying, gender-based violence or sexual assault so seriously. Yeah, they definitely call in investigations. A lot more often than any other crime. And again, be excited for her to explain this a little bit to our audience, but it's interesting how it's two completely separate processes where we give our information to Title IX, but we can't really use their stuff, and they can do reach their own conclusion regardless of what's done in court and all that. So it can be a pretty good system.
Coming around the roundabout, I think this was the first roundabout in Blacksburg, if I'm not mistaken, and then he followed suit.
Yeah.
Unless the one by McComas was prior to this one.
That's a good question. We didn't have a Blacksburg historian on the show.
But you don't see many accidents in the roundabouts. I think we talked about that before.
He's pretty effective traffic control. I always appreciate your mobile command center navigation abilities.
So you're saying I need to be work for BT?
Yeah, I think so.
Now tell us, what is your title here at Virginia Tech?
I am the Director of Title IX Compliance and Title IX Coordinator.
Had you, and we'll probably talk about it when we get back to it too. Had you been a Title IX coordinator before?
I was the Title IX coordinator at the University of New Mexico for the last 6 years before coming here.
I've been this year. I went to is that in Albuquerque?
It is.
Yeah, I went there this year.
Did you?
And I drove around. It's very interesting. The neighborhoods around it, the university itself was, and you would think it gets cold there.
It's so funny because I've been telling so many people that because I'm originally from Chicago. Moved to the Southwest 12 and a half years ago, and I went to UNM for my PhD, and the first fall there it was 17 degrees. And I was upset and offended. And folks are like, you're in the high desert. I'm like, desert. They're like, high desert. I'm like, desert. They're like, no, high desert. I'm like, I don't know what that even means. But Albuquerque's higher than Denver.
No.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it does get cold. That was not on my bingo card. I have an identical twin sister. She lives in Florida. And so I'm much closer to her. And so go visit her pretty often.
I was just talking before you got in how I've had great experiences with Title IX.
Nice.
Everything's awesome.
Good. It's a good team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that there's plenty that we interact with the Title IX office and police department a lot, but there's also a decent chunk of you guys that are kind of stuck outside of what the police are handling. So there's some people that work very often, but
Yeah.
I get to see anybody who's had a good experience with.
It's helpful for folks to come talk to us because even if they don't want to do anything, like move forward with any process, we can talk about how we can support them, right? And so that's always really helpful too because they're here to learn, and that's first. So how can we help you with that? And yeah, there's a lot of overlap, but then sometimes that I don't want to call it lower risk, but some of the sexually harassing language might not be criminal, right? And so there's overlap, but then there are some areas that are.
Well, how long have you been a Hokie? And how long does it take, MJ, to become a Hokie once you start working here or going here? Is it the day of? Is it a month?
I think we're a welcoming place. I think it's pretty instantaneous. I mean, you step on campus, you're part of this community, you're a Hokie.
So how long have you been a Hokie?
My start date was December 10th.
Not too long ago.
No, not long at all. But I think I've been a Hokie since I accepted the offer. So early November, yeah. The people are incredible, very welcoming, very collaborative. And so it's made my first month here really great. I'm super excited. I'm excited for the students because most of my time here so far is done without students. So really excited to see, the hustle and bustle once they come back to the students, but the people.
All right, welcome back to MJ's Legal Corner. We have another exciting, fun Code of Virginia to go over today to share with our audience.
You can never get enough out of Virginia.
No, it's great. So today, let's talk about an important topic. It's stalking, okay? There can be some misconceptions about what that means in Virginia. So let's talk a little bit about it. So 18260.3 stalking. So the law says any person who on more than one occasion, so multiple times, engages in conduct through any means directed at someone else with the intent to place, or if they reasonably know it would place, that person in fear of assault, death, criminal sexual assault, and that's a class 1 misdemeanor, okay? Now, here's an important thing for the community to hear. If the person being contacted or followed tells the suspect, the person doing this, that they don't want to be contacted, they don't want to be followed, none of that, then the law says that it's prima facie, so exciting legal term, on its face, just on its face, evidence of violation of this. So what does that mean for our community? Okay, so the big takeaway for me here to share with people is, one, if you ever feel like you're being stalked or harassed or in any kind of nature, call 911, okay? You don't have to figure it out on your own. But if you're in a situation where you're just not sure, you're very uncomfortable with what's going on, and you just don't want someone to talk to you anymore, someone's been talking to you on campus and you're just done with it, what do you need to do? You need to tell them, hey, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I don't want you to follow me. And that can be uncomfortable, right? We always want to be nice, but sometimes you just got to be clear with people. And that can really help you, help you with that situation, right? Don't talk to me. I don't want to be contacted anymore. Don't follow me anymore. And so then if that goes to court, then the court automatically issues a protective order, no contact order, should that occur. So yeah, this can be in person, through phone calls, texts, emails, anything like that. Again, the big takeaway is tell that person, I don't want you to talk to me anymore. I don't want to talk to you. I'm not interested. Please leave me alone. And again, if you feel unsafe, call 911, right? You don't have to figure it out without us. So,
we were talking earlier about the first drone case, I think, in Virginia involving stalking, where a person used a drone to come onto somebody's property. I think it was a farm. And, so using different devices, electronic devices can involve stalking situations as well. I know that one of the resources, besides the police department, wherever police department or town you live in, here at Virginia Tech, we have the Women's Resource Center,
absolutely.
Right? And that is, up off Washington Street by Kent. Great resource to give you information on stalking and other resources.
Yeah, no, and when the police isn't the only department at the university that can help you out with that, but we definitely are willing to. I have personally prosecuted that and brought charges with it. We take it seriously here, and there's that no contact order. So if you feel like you're trapped in the situation, come talk to us, come talk to the Women's Resource Center, get your options, and there's definitely people to help you out here.
This kind of fits and segues into the Title IX, right? Because I'm sure that they deal with situations from the university's perspective. So, yeah.
Good option. So there it is for MJ's Legal Corner, another thrilling overview of the Code of the Commonwealth of Virginia. You gotta love it. Stay tuned for next time. Okay, so we're back. So I guess, thanks for coming on and being our guest. I guess to start with kind of the basics, if someone's listening to this and they're like, what's Title IX? What is that? What do you all do? What's kind of the summary and what you do on campus?
Yeah, so Title IX is a federal civil rights law that protects against the discrimination on the basis of sex. And it's for all educational institutions that receive federal funds. So really what that means is ensuring that folks have equal access to their education and the programs and activities at the institution, regardless of sex. So sexual harassment, gender discrimination, stalking, things like that. And so my office, the Title IX office, we do the investigations for students who've been accused, but we can also provide supportive measures. And so those are, if folks don't necessarily want to go forward with our process or an investigation, they can still say, something happened and I'm really struggling and I still want to be here and I want to be successful. And we'll open that door and say, great, what do you need? And then we'll work within the university to see what support systems we might be able to provide for them so that they can continue to be successful here. And then we also provide support for
are students who are pregnant and might need some additional support while they're going through their pregnancy so that they can continue to be successful. So really for me, the way I envision Title IX is a resource for students to be able to access their education after something might have unfortunately happened to them.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like you cover a lot. I've heard before people say like, oh, there's a Title IX, there's some Title IX going on, and they say like, oh, the university just kind of figures it out and decides it like it's a kind of quick little process, so it's not much into it. Is that the case, or do you guys actually, kind of dive into things?
It's actually a really comprehensive process for our investigations. And, folks aren't going to know about investigations that they're not involved in because we want to keep that confidential, and we really do value people's confidentiality because we know how sensitive that stuff is. And so for investigations, they are really in depth, and we provide notice to both parties, and so they'll know what they're accused of. They can respond meaningfully. They can provide witnesses, and so we will collect evidence, go back and forth with parties to make sure that they're getting their side heard. They'll look at their statements, review them, and then at the end be able to review the entire record so then they can see everything before it then goes to a hearing over in student conduct to then decide whether or not a policy was violated. And so a lot of the process is dictated by federal law. And so it is pretty engaging and in-depth. But, we try to be really sensitive and allow folks that time and flexibility to really make those decisions about if they want to move forward. If the complainant or the person who's been impacted doesn't want to move forward, and it doesn't rise to a level where there's a threat to the university, we're going to the best of our ability, respect and honor their wishes in not moving forward, because we know that can be really challenging for people, and instead saying, hey, how can we support you? And if they do want to move forward, say, okay, here's what you can expect. We can connect them with an advocate, we can connect them with other folks, so then they are supported along the way.
Yeah, and then what you're saying sounds a lot like our process with the police department, where it's very, very important to us, the person who comes to us, that they're kind of in charge. It's their decision whether or not they want to move forward. Again, the same with us, unless there's a small set that might be a danger to the university and we just have to act. But that's, at least on our end, not a very common thing. And it's just almost always that person has the ability to say, okay, I want to move forward. I don't want to move forward. I want to take my time and think about it. I do that often with people. I'm sure it's the same with you. Of like, okay, just take some time, talk to some people you trust. I'll give you a call back in a few days and check in on you. And then if you haven't decided, then that's fine too.
Totally. And, in those instances where we do have to move forward, if they don't want us to, we let them know and say, hey, we have to move forward. You still don't have to participate if you don't want to. It's voluntary. We will keep you updated along the way. You can participate to the extent that you feel, comfortable doing so. So then this way they know what's going on. So then it's transparent. It's never like, oh, I didn't know you were doing this, and now I'm realizing all this. And we want folks to know all of this so that they can make the best informed decisions for themselves.
Does your department primarily deal with students? Do you deal with faculty, staff as well, or is that another department here at Virginia Tech?
So it's within the Office of Equity and Accessibility, and so the Title IX side looks at the students, and then we have the civil rights side that Harrison Blythe oversees.
Okay.
And so if a faculty member or a staff member is accused,
Right.
Harrison's side will take it and they'll investigate it. Same process, similar in those ways, and I work really closely with Harrison on those cases.
So you've been in Blacksburg, you've been a Hokie, we talked about this earlier, since December-ish. And we talked about, what's the best part of Blacksburg. What do you look forward to doing here? Taking it off work when you're not at work. Because I'm sure that you're at work probably 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. But those couple hours that you have free, what do you look forward to doing here?
Yeah, I love hiking. And so
Right place.
Yep. And New Mexico and Arizona both had mountains, and so I was really excited to know that there's hiking here as well. And I just adopted a puppy. He's an 8-month-old black mouth cur, and he's already about 50 pounds, and so he's huge. And I can't wait to take him hiking and just explore the state, go to sporting events, and really just get familiar with the community, go to some lakes and really see some water and get out there in nature.
Tarter, what's the classic Virginia Tech hike? When the freshmen get here, where are they going?
They're probably going to go to the Cascades, right? Because it's not a hard hike, but especially during this time when it's frozen over. I've never been. I see pictures, and I say every year I'm going to go when it snows, and I never do. But the Cascades is probably one of the easier hikes, I guess.
Yeah, that's the classic one. So check that one out. However, fall semester at the very start, if you don't care for crowds, you might have to skip it for a week or two because that is like classic move in. The student leaders like, let's go as a let's go as like a hall, and we'll go, and man, it gets crowded, but it's still nice and it's well maintained. So Cascades, put it on the list. And it seemed to me in the past the Title IX office had some challenges with all these changes and all in the law changing and processes and all that, but I didn't see any impact on students. That they did such a good job of really working hard and working with legal team and all that they were able to make a smooth transition, and it didn't seem like students were being harmed or suffering from it. It was just unfortunately a lot of work for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's great to know that it seems like students weren't impacted by that, and I can't say enough great things about my team. Team, thank you, you're incredible. I came into an amazing team, and so really excited to continue that work because it is about the students and the folks that we serve. And so what are the best ways that we can do that, even if we're behind the scenes, like, how are we going to get this done? At least as we're forward facing with our students, they don't have to feel that angst.
Sure. And all right, so you're saying there's focus on students. So if there's a student watching this or someone else, parent, faculty, staff member, and they're like, okay, I might have been impacted by something that the Title IX office can help me with. How do they connect with you guys? Do they need to come to your office or other ways?
So there are a few different ways. If folks have experienced something or they know someone who has, they can either email any of us in the office, they can come in, they can, just pick up the phone and call, they can send an email if they wanted to. We do have reporting forms online, or if folks don't really know yet if they want to come forward, they can go to the Women's Center. The CARES program is a confidential location for them to learn more about, what the Title IX process entails, because my office is not confidential. And so once you tell us, you can't unring that bell. If they're not really sure yet, if they want to have it reported, I would say go to the CARES program over at the Women's Center. They are incredible, and they are confidential to say, here's what that process looks like. Here are your options. And kind of just go through and be really transparent about, if you make this decision, here are those options. And if you stay here, here's what you can kind of expect.
Yeah, and when I have people come in who might have experienced gender-based violence, a lot of times what I will see is people who identify as women who are victims, and they'll come in, and sometimes people who aren't women think, well, there's no resources for me. Is that the case? Is this Title IX only for women or for everybody?
Title IX is for everybody, and that is a common misconception that I hear. Title IX came about to level the playing field for female athletes back in the day, but it really is on the basis of sex, not just women. And so we know that, men can also be discriminated against. And so it really is for everyone, not just women.
Cook counseling is in your building as well, correct?
Yes.
So I guess that's a great resource as well, whether the person, because that's confidential, the cooks, but they could come over to your place while they're talking to cooks, or vice versa, right?
Yes.
So it's a great resource to have right there. And like I tell the students a lot of times, and I'm sure MJ does too, that you have a choice. You don't have to talk to the police if you don't want to. Some people choose to talk to the police, and they go through Title IX, and they go through the Women's Center, and they go through Cooks. Some people I just want to talk to Title IX. Yeah. I want the university to handle it from that point. I don't want to go through the criminal justice process, or they go through the Women's Center. So there's definitely a plethora of resources here at Virginia Tech.
And I thank you for bringing up Cook, because Cook is another confidential resource, and it's available to all students, even those who may have been accused, because we know that resources for them is also really important, because that can be stressful time for them while they're still navigating school.
Right. And I was just thinking about, as you're saying, what's confidential and not in your office not being confidential. I just want to let people know a little behind the scenes how that works for us, is that even though you're not confidential and if a crime is reported to you all and you're a mandated reporter, the way that works for us, just so people know, is that we'll take that report from you all, and if the person impacted doesn't want to participate, we do that report because we know it's important for the community to understand proper crime statistics and understand what's going on campus. But then we don't even reach out to that person further. If they don't want to participate, as a police department, we're not even calling you, we're not bothering you until that person wants to participate with us. So even though you're not confidential resource and you have to report something to the police department, we don't even reach out to that person if they don't want to be involved. So it's not something that they get stuck with, right, if they come and speak to you.
Yeah, and that's something we tell folks too, is if you want to connect with law enforcement, here's what you can do. You don't have to. We're going to respect your wishes. Of course, if there's something where, if there's a minor involved or something like that, we have to report that. But, giving folks that agency back is so important. And giving them those choices and then letting them kind of guide that, I think is incredibly powerful.
Right. And I will say, obviously I'm biased. I work for Virginia Tech Police Department. I like to think that we really treat people with a lot of respect and care with that. And if anybody's listening is impacted by this kind of thing, I really hope that they're willing to come in and speak with us. And on our kind of criminal side, I've had great experiences with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office. They're very sensitive to these cases and take them very seriously. If there's something they're not able to move forward with and prosecute, they're willing to actually meet with that person and explain, why they're coming to that conclusion. So it's not just like, oh, well, Commonwealth said no, so it's done. They treat that person with respect and are willing to sit down with them and explain the legal process. They can get obviously very complicated, and they want the best thing for that person. And so if they don't want to move forward with that difficult court process, if there's not a good chance for successful prosecution. So now that you're here, you're being a Hokie, what's one thing that you have that you're looking forward to bringing kind of, I don't know if it's a change or not, to Title IX, something like, man, I've got a great idea for this. Anything that you're excited to move forward with, like your vision for how things? Yeah,
I didn't come in with a vision. And part of that reason is because the team is incredible, and Title IX at Virginia Tech has a great foundation, and my predecessor, Katie, did an incredible job. What I'm most excited about, I love to be out there. I love to engage with students. I love to be at tabling events and things like that. And so once students are back, because they haven't really been here since I've been here yet. And I am so excited to get out there and feel like a Hokie, and connect with the campus community. And so any of those ways that I can do that, hanging out with you all and doing this and working with other areas in our student centers, that is what I am most excited about. And then the vision will fall into place once I learn more about Virginia Tech, because I'm not coming in and like, we need to do all these changes. No, it's everything is amazing. What can we do to enhance all of the strengths that we already have?
Is it time for our rapid fire?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you, we're going to give you two options, and you pick either one.
Got it.
Really fast. You want to start, or you want me to start?
All right, so first, I bet maybe a softball one. Would you rather have a cheeseburger or a pizza?
Pizza from Chicago.
Okay.
I was going to do pizza too, but I'll come back to it. The world famous Green Bay Packers, or that little team called the Bears. The Bears
from
or the
Chicago, the Bears, and we
Bears.
beat the Packers in the last game of the season, so I'm going to hold on to that.
Okay, great. All right, if you're on vacation, would you rather go up to the mountains or out to the beach?
Beach.
Okay, we'll get a little warmer from the high desert, right?
All right, I'm staying with sports. White Sox or Cubs?
Cubs.
Yeah, I'm a Cubs.
All right, and if you're relaxing at night, would you rather watch a movie or a TV show?
Read.
Read. All right, there you go. Even better.
You've already answered this, but I'm going to go with it anyway. Cat or dog?
Dog.
Dog.
Okay. Are you more of a winter person or a summer person?
Summer.
Man, beach in the summer here, okay. We'll warm up here soon.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
Big truck or convertible?
Convertible.
Okay. And if you're going for dessert, we gotta have cake or ice cream.
Cappuccino. I'm not a rule follower, sorry.
Now, there's two famous, there's probably two famous pizza places in Chicago, but I've been to one of them. It was a little bitty place. There's the big one, Giordano's or whatever, and then there's a little smaller one. What's your favorite pizza place out of the two most popular ones?
Giordano's thin crust.
Okay. All right. Are you more of a morning person or an evening person?
Morning.
Get
Yep.
up and at 'em.
Yep.
Let's see, cowbell or rubber chicken?
Rubber chicken.
Yes, all the way.
Okay. Well, all right. You survived the rapid fire. Well done. So thanks for joining us here. I think we have a gift or two for your great participation here.
So we always tell the students we're going to give you an amazing, I had to fix it, amazing Virginia Tech police pen. Police.vt.edu is where anyone can learn about our programs and services. Do you know what a Goki is? Have you heard the expression, what is a hokey?
Yes.
Answer is, I am.
Okay.
So you are. This is a Goki. And you put your keys on it. You go to a sporting event, basketball game, and you can shake your keys,
Okay.
that kind of thing. So I'm going to give you a Goki.
Thank you.
For the key play. When there's a key play, then everybody gets the keys out, football, and shakes it.
Got it. Good to know.
We're going to give you an amazing Virginia Tech whistle.
Thank you.
We're going to give you this amazing junior police badge. We always do a swearing-in ceremony, so you realize the power or lack of power in that plastic badge. So raise your hand and repeat exactly after me. I state my name.
Angela Catena.
Wrong. I state my name.
State my name.
Understand.
Understand.
This amazing junior police badge.
This amazing junior police badge.
Means
Absolutely
nothing.
everything. Nothing.
It will not get me out of a speeding ticket by MJ.
It will not get me out of a speeding ticket by MJ.
Or a parking ticket.
Or a parking ticket.
And I will wear it with pride.
And I will wear it with pride.
Congratulations.
Thank you.